our show starter. Here we go.
Feel free to tap your toes.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to tuning into the program. My name's James. With me is Chris, and this is FuelStopChats. It's a podcast where we talk about, well, anything. We try to talk about motorcycles, but not always. So tune in, enjoy, and hope you like it. All right, there's the intro. Chris, how are you?
I'm good, man.
We've got a return guest this evening. Why don't you do the introduction?
Oh, man, does he really need an introduction? I mean, everybody
He really
knows
doesn't.
Florian.
He really doesn't.
And look, if you don't subscribe to Roadrunner Magazine, shame on you. Shame on you. If you did, you'd know exactly who we have on tonight. Editor-in-Chief and all things Roadrunner Magazine. Florian, welcome.
I have to agree with you. If you're not a subscriber, if you don't even actually pick it up at the store. I remember the first time, and I may have said this, in previous conversations that we've had with you here. I remember I was in a Publix supermarket in Tampa, Florida. I was looking for a magazine. I just wanted something, to throw in the bag. We were going on a trip, and I just remember I just wanted something to grab, and I was like, all right, I'll just grab a motorcycle magazine. And I remember the first time I saw Roadrunner, because I was like, wait, what's that? Because you got Cycle World, you have all these other ones where it's like, okay, they're more just sort of motorcycle specific, and it really revolves around the world of crotch rockets, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing the cover, and it was like a couple baggers that were going off into a canyon, and I was like, okay, so that's sort of my vibe right there. Let me see this. And I remember thumbing through it, and I was like, yeah, where's this magazine been my whole life? I had never heard of it before. I'd never seen it. So if you've never heard or seen of Roadrunner magazine, you like going on trips, you like doing cloverleafs, you like finding out about motorcycles, what's new, more gear, some of the stuff that we talk about on this program, definitely go find a subscription, find them online. You could look at their online presence, but it's just such a great piece of motorcycle literature.
Thanks, James.
I've had several trips that I've planned just by reading the magazine.
I was just going to say the same thing. I was in an airport, and I distinctly remember I was going to visit a customer in Denver, and I knew exactly how long the flight was, and I said, I need a magazine. And so I go into the airport, little gift shop there where you get your candy and your water and your magazines. And I grabbed a copy of Roadrunner. I threw it in the bag, got on the plane, put my earbuds in, started reading the magazine, and I said, this is exactly what I want to read about. Yeah, there's a little bike, there's a little tech on the gear, but there's also this great cloverleaf route you can tear out and you can put in your tank bag. Or if you're a subscriber, you can get the GPX files. And I thought, man, how cool is that? And then it was, hey, this is a great little hotel to stay at. This is a great little restaurant to eat at. And I don't know, I just fell in love with the magazine. I love what you guys are doing with it. And tonight we want to catch up, talk about what's new, especially the bike giveaway, and see what's going on, what's going forward.
Thanks, guys. So basically, you two walked into a store, looked at the shelf, we're like, that one, that'll do.
Yep.
And then, yeah, but you're right. Hey, after 25 years, if you haven't seen a copy of Roadrunner, then you're not doing it right. Then you might own a motorcycle, but you're not a motorcyclist. Because, after 25 years, surely you've come across it either in a bookstore, at a friend's house, at the motorcycle shop, at a trade show. Surely you would have seen it somewhere. So.
Man, that shot's fired right there. That's from the editor-in-chief of Roadrunner magazine. If you're not subscribing to his magazine,
you're not a motorcyclist.
You're not really a motorcyclist.
No.
Not doing it right. Not doing
you're
it
just
right.
a motorcycle owner.
Yeah. But 5 years.
You're a fair weather rider.
It's crazy how fast time flies by. This year we have special treatments on all the covers. They have a nice little gold rim and accent around it.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And it's just a really nice way to celebrate 25 years and going through the archives and looking through all the old photos. I mean, it's just, I mean, it feels like just yesterday. It really does. But of course, then you go look at the photos and you see the god awful gear that we wore in, 2001, 2002. And so I'm glad those days are over. I mean, just style wise, we've come a long way. Motorcycles, I think they've always looked pretty good. So motorcycles, I can't complain too much, but I am glad we're wearing some really nice gear these days.
I have to agree.
Yeah, I have. I was saying at the beginning of this, I was uh, riveted by there's a piece by your mom that's in this month or this latest issue, and I started reading it. I read to my wife every night, especially a good motorcycle magazine. That'll put her under real quick because she likes riding on the back. But I started reading the article that your mom put together, and she's talking about moving from Austria to America, and 25 years ago picking up the entire family, you and your brother, and getting everything over here. And usually I'm finishing my article and I look over, my wife is still looking at me awake. I'm like, shit, I got to read some more. All right, well, let me get some motorcycle tech specifications going. That'll put her under. But yeah, she was like, wow, that was really good. It's like, yeah, that was. And then I'm loving the Route 66 recap that you and the group did, looking at your dad's photos. That was awesome.
Yeah, Route 66. I mean, we could talk about Route 66.
Oh yeah.
Such an epic trip. Based on timing, it was a little difficult because we went in July. And it was really hot. I also got some new CX boots, and they had this really fancy ortholite insole in there. And the first day I put them on in Chicago, they were just, I mean, I was like, wow. But, start of day 2, after 100 degrees and all the humidity, all that cushioning was gone in the boots. So there's only so much you can do in that heat. But yeah, we escaped it pretty quick. But yeah, Route 66, what an epic trip. I mean, they're celebrating the centennial next year, so that's why we had it happen in the magazine now, so you can plan your own trip. But wow, it's that road. I mean, really, just any cross country trip is life changing, I think. But
Yeah.
Route 66 just adds that special piece of, yeah, it's, you have to experience it. And
Yeah, I'll throw it out there. You're not a motorcyclist if you don't have a picture of yourself in Winslow, Arizona, sitting on a corner.
that's right, right there with the guy from the Eagles,
Glenn Fry
that guy. We were
and
there.
Jackson Brown.
I couldn't imagine Winslow, Arizona in July.
Dude,
Oh
I was sitting here thinking the same thing, or like when we went through going from Winslow west. You remember when we hit those crosswinds that were like 60 miles an hour, just unbelievable. And
yeah, over by the Petrified Forest and all that.
stopped out there, and I never forget the little burger joint in Kingman, Arizona. Best milkshakes and burgers in the world. I was like, okay, well, I'm up for the challenge, But
When
yeah,
you were
Route
there too,
66.
same exact one.
Yeah, it's a great ride. In fact, I've been talking about doing some modifications to the '69 Camaro, and next year for the 100th anniversary, taking the Camaro and doing the trip. And so, because I've ridden most of it on the bike, and I thought, well, I could take my wife along. She wouldn't mind riding in the car, but she ain't sitting on a bike for a week.
But yeah, classic American car would definitely be the way to go too. And there are a couple of really cool hotels along the way. But the one that was the most special was the Blue Swallow in Tucumcari, New Mexico. What a special place. I mean, yes, the original neon lights are still there. That itself is very special. But the way that this motor court is laid out and the rooms are, I mean, they're small old hotel rooms, and there's nothing for you to do inside other than either sit on the bed or lay in the bed. So everybody sits outside, which is really unique and really cool because people are forced to talk to each other, and it's just novel because instead of disappearing in a hotel room and never looking at another human being, Here, everybody's outside, sitting in a lawn chair, and within 10, 15 minutes, it's just everybody's coming over to your little garage that they have there, and where you from, where you going. And it was also the first time we've met people going the other way. Because up until this point, we only met people going west. And this was the first time we met people going east, which was also very interesting. But yeah, the Blue Swallow in Tucumcari, super cool place.
Yeah, there's lots of those cool places along that route that are just mind-boggling. I grew up in just outside of St. Louis, and so we never really thought much of Route 66 because we lived on it.
Yeah, it was just a
You
road.
know, it's like it runs right through St. Louis. We got, plenty of Americana there. But it was when we started venturing west that it really got fun. And, for the people that come east that haven't been to Chicago, that's also a treat. If you, take the time to get to know Chicago a little bit. James, you know a little bit about Chicago.
Yeah, I do. I mean, well, the 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 hard part with the Route 66 is it gets lost in the interstates
Yeah.
when you get near the big cities because it's gotten swallowed up. So that, to me, it takes away from it. Because if I'm gonna ride Route 66, I want that two-lane feel. I want that Americana back, 1950s, 1940s. This is how you get across the country on this one little, two-lane road. And then you get put on the 5-lane, going each way interstate.
Yeah.
It takes away from it.
Oh, you're such a traditionalist.
50.
Such a traditionalist. And let me guess, you're on a 5-year-old motorcycle doing this?
Yeah.
If you want to do this going on little two-lane roads, you better be on a 100-year-old motorcycle. Come on, let's go.
Well, yeah, we could do it like Charlie and Ewan out there doing that Long Way Home on Apple TV right now.
Yeah.
Have you seen any of that?
None of it. Nope, I don't want any part of it.
It's
this one's actually
It's
good.
good.
They're doing it on 50-year-old motorcycles. So I don't know. It's entertaining to me.
Now you've challenged me. I've got a 1975 BMW R750 R75/6, and maybe I should take that bike and do the trip for the 100th anniversary.
Yeah, it forces you to slow down and really experience what Route 66 was like back then too, including all the breakdowns and all the help you needed from other travelers.
Yeah, that's a good thought. I was thinking the Camaro, but man, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe the 75/6 would be the way to go.
Well, the R75 will be a lot cheaper in gas mileage because I know with my Camaro,
Yeah.
you start it up and to back it out of the garage, you lose a quarter tank of gas right there.
Yeah, mine's not good on fuel economy either. But
we're celebrating 25 years, and last year already we had a really stupid idea to celebrate in a big way, and that was to give away a motorcycle. And long winters are never a good idea, and somehow we made it work. And yeah, sure enough, we're giving away this 2025 BMW R1300 GS Adventure, and it's quite the program. It started January 1st, and the sweepstakes runs until July 31st. So we only have a couple of days left, and we even have a little countdown on our website. So if you want to know exactly, about 45 days and 4 hours left, and it's completely free to enter. Go to roadrunner.travel, and there's an orange banner at the top that takes you to the sweepstakes entry. Of course, we couldn't have made this happen without some partners, and I would like to go over these supporting partners and what they donated to the motorcycle. Of course,
Please do.
Better ride. We have Michelin that sponsored some Anarchy Adventure tires. It's the same stock tire that's on the bike right now, and then we have a fresh pair that the winner gets to take along with it. Then we have some really cool luggage racks and the Syspack waterproof saddlebags from SW Motec.
Wow, nice.
Nelson Rig donated a tank bag, a tail bag, and some accessory bags for the side mounting points there up in the tank area. Then Clearwater lights. I mean, Clearwater lights, obviously
have those.
premium auxiliary lighting, but they are not only super duper bright, but they're also very well made. I really love those lights. A custom Corbin saddle, which we of course do not have yet. The winner gets to completely design their own custom seat with Corbin. Then we have a very unique exhaust, one that I have never seen before, but I am really liking, and I'm considering for other motorcycles now too, is the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde Nomad S exhaust. It's an exhaust that's from Europe and meets all the rules and regulations for emissions and noise. But just like the novel, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, there's an evil one and a good one. And you have a button on the handlebar. So when you start up the bike, it's always in Dr. Jekyll mode, which is more or less stock sound decibels wise. Hit that button once, and then the baffle opens up all the way, and then you have Mr. Hyde, and it's a really nice throaty sound. And it's just performance. I mean, it sounds really good. And then you can also double tap the button, and then it goes halfway. So then it's like an in-between set, but super cool exhaust system. Let's see, what else? Then we have a tire inflator from Motor Pumps. We have mirrors from Double Take. And then for some gear, we have a Scorpion XT9000 helmet, really cool dual sport helmet. Cardo sponsored a Pack Talk Edge Bluetooth communicator. And their sister company is giving away a Riser Pro subscription to their navigation app. So that's the long list of physical items you get. And then we pick a winner in early August, and the winner will meet us in Western North Carolina in Fontana Village at the resort, and they get a 2-night stay at the resort and get to ride with me and Marissa and get to check out some local roads, and we'll hand over the key. Oh, actually, it's not really a key, it's more like a key fob. So we'll hand over the key fob to this beautiful GSA.
So not only are you giving away like a $26,000 motorcycle, you have about $10,000 worth of stuff. Because I'm counting it up. I mean, I had the Clearwater lights. Those are not cheap, especially new ones. Because I had bought used ones, and those were even expensive as all get out. I've got the rigs on mine, or the tank bag. That was not cheap.
Corbin
the tires alone,
all quality parts. I mean, we cherry picked some of these partners. This is because we started with the idea. Okay, what would we put on our own personal bike? So that's how we started. And
I'm very curious about these pipes. I want to look at those. I don't know how they'd be on a K1600.
Which one?
Like
the
could be fun.
I'd like to find out.
Yeah, and the motorcycle right now is displayed in Fontana Village at the Dam Garage, which is the gas station there on the corner of Moonshiner 28. The bike is sitting there right now. We dropped it off at the end of May, and there's an iPad kiosk there. You can sign up. There's also some QR codes you can sign up in case something's not working, and there's a whole sheet with all the items that we totaled up. And I forgot how much all the accessories are worth put together, but yeah, it's in the low $30,000.
Oh, easily.
33, maybe something like that. But doesn't really matter what the price is. It's a brand new motorcycle that somebody gets to win. Yeah, crazy idea, but I'm excited to give it.
Well, I've already entered, so I entered a while ago, and I did all the extra entries too. So if you go on the the roadrunner.travel and you click on that link, you'll see like you can get double entry if you click this or that and the other. Well worth it. You might not want to click all of them, but there's various ways to extend your entrance into this.
Right. Yep.
And for those, when we're talking about, Fontana Village in Western North Carolina, I know that, Western North Carolina was hit hard last year. For those of you that know me, we were broadcasting our last two podcasts from the Bryson City, Western North Carolina area. The roads are open, folks, and they're clean and they're beautiful. For those of you that like the Dragon, know that 10 of the 11 miles, the whole Tennessee side, is all brand new tarmac, and it's beautiful. If you catch it at the right time on a weekday in the morning, there won't be anybody there, just like it was with me, and it was perfect. Uh, but the roads are open, the shops are open, and they're really happy to have people come out there. When I was out there, I didn't see a lot of bikes. I saw some, and it was just getting into the season. I left there the first week of June. So, I know that, Florian, we tried to sync up when I was there, but just, it's difficult. But I'll be out there again in a few weeks. And if I can get out to the village, I'll go see that bike because I would like to see that.
Marissa kept me on a tight leash on that trip. I had zero extra time. From the moment we woke up until I clawed myself into my bed in my room, we were working. I mean, you see all the videos that are on Instagram
Oh, yeah.
now, and all the stuff that's still in the publishing pipeline. But these were super long days. I think it was either the last night or second to last night. It was a very long day of filming already, and it's probably 10:30 or so, and we're at the Cantina, one of the restaurants in Fontana, finally finishing up dinner. And Marissa's really proud of her Forerunner truck that has 4 Denali lights at the top and 4 Denali lights at the bottom. A lot of firepower, and it was thunderstorming and raining, and she really wanted to show me how bright the lights are. I said, "Yeah, sure, let's go." So there's a back road out of Fontana Village that's just curvy, pitch black, and she wanted to show me there. I was like, "Cool, let's go." Okay, we get into the dark hills. She turns on the lights. Cool, you can see everything, and I figured this is where we turn around. This is
Saw
where
the
we
lights.
turn around.
Let's go.
I was like, no. I was like, no. Marissa keeps driving. I don't say anything, and we've done the road earlier in the day, and I know that there are no side roads. If we keep going, this is a 1-hour journey that circles us back to the hotel. So after 15, 20 minutes, I've come to terms with the fact that Marissa's not turning around. So I got myself comfortable and just enjoyed an hour-long drive through the rain with lots of lights on the road. That was cool.
You were kidnapped.
I was borderline kidnapped, yeah. And then I think we got back to the hotel around 11:30, 11:45 or so. I'm like, yes, yep. That is how we do. That's how we do things.
The abduction of Florian Neuhauser, film at 11.
Too funny. Yeah, but yeah, again, the sweepstakes completely free. You can get extra entries by sharing your info with all of our partners. You can get additional entries for subscribing to our newsletter, to our web subscription, print subscription, buying stuff in our online store. We have a whole bunch of cool t-shirts. So there are lots of ways to get additional entries. And, I think with most sweepstakes or, little niche publication prizes, your chances are pretty good to win. I mean, we're not talking about millions of entrants here. I mean, this is still probably on the smaller scale of promotion. So, you gotta.
And the bike will look great in my garage. That's all I'm saying.
If you want to win it, you gotta play.
It'll fit in there perfectly.
Gotta play.
You think so? It's a pretty big bike.
It's a pretty big garage.
Yeah. I don't know. I have to read the fine print. Maybe us talking about it on the podcast maybe disqualifies you from winning it. I'll have to read the fine print.
Look at that face.
I didn't hear it. I can't hear anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't hear anything either. What motorcycle sweepstakes?
Never heard of it.
So, shifting gears a little bit, but sticking with the Roadrunner theme, I saw last month or the last issue, not this issue, but the issue before this or something came out. Maybe it was in a newsletter. You guys are having a rally in Tennessee.
Yeah, we're getting together again. I don't want to call it a touring weekend because that's not what it is.
Yeah, and I don't like the word
I
rally,
don't
but
like the word rally either, but 2019 was the last touring weekend we held, and it was up in Snowshoe. And then, of course, 2020 happened, and yeah, and then, well, things got a little tight with a whole lot of things, so we didn't do anything. And then with the 25-year celebration, of course, again, somebody had the genius idea of let's get together for an event again. And that's how this one came back together. It's October 3rd through 5th in Kingsport, Tennessee, at that giant Marriott hotel. We've been there before at a touring weekend. And it's just a nice, small scale event where we get together with readers and friends and just ride for a day or two and have some fun in the evening. We're trying to get a ton of door prizes because everybody loves door prizes. And Marissa, Caleb, and I will rehash our Route 66 story in a little great detail.
well, I'm very curious about the menu. I saw something about that with all the different food that you're going to be having there.
I know that's the highlight. I mean, it's the food is very important, and when you go to a large event hotel, they give you the whole menu selection of which packages you can select. And knowing our readers and knowing the quality that we want and expect, we just flipped to the end of that booklet and said that one. So it's going to be really the best food that they can offer, and I have high hopes for it. I mean, they better serve it up well.
Yeah, Chris and I had been talking to a couple of our friends, Todd and Yvonne, about getting together. We haven't ridden together, and that's been pre-COVID,
Pre-COVID.
I think.
Yeah.
So trying to get together. 3 of the 4 of us live in Florida. Chris is the outlier, and he can bring his bike down. We can bring our bikes up. October's not too bad to ride in Florida. I just hate riding in Florida, but it's worth it once you get up just north of Atlanta.
Pretty up here in
But
Pennsylvania. I said
what's
it's
up?
pretty up here in Pennsylvania in October.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Florida riding is great, especially right after you cross the border to get out of Florida. It's just perfect.
That's the best part.
Yeah, it's usually when I take it off the
When
trailer.
you see that "Welcome to Florida" sign in your left rearview mirror.
Yeah.
Hey, Florida. I'm curious, when you do the ride in Kingsport, what bike will you be bringing for that ride, for that trip?
Ooh, most likely I'm going to bring my 21 Triumph Scrambler, my XE. Most likely that one. It's that's the one that's still for sale on Facebook. I've made dozens of friends talking about this motorcycle. Haven't sold it yet, but it's just up there now for entertainment, really. But that's the one I'll be bringing to Kingsport. And then Jim Parks, one of our longtime contributors, we're going up to Madison, Indiana, and then doing a Shamrock tour there. And again, it just shows you how long we've been doing this. I never knew that. I thought that I've never been to Madison, Indiana. And when I asked Jim if he wants to go with me to Madison, Indiana, he reminded me that we have been to Madison, Indiana together on a tour where he got deathly ill at a Greek restaurant. And he was just trying to survive in the hotel room, which once he told me, I kind of came back a little fuzzy, but I did remember the hotel and the fact that Jim was super duper ill. And I was like, oh yeah, we were in Madison, Indiana. So it's nice that we get to go back. Definitely not eat at that Greek restaurant again and explore 4 nice day rides out of there.
That's cool. That Triumph's a lot of fun, the Scrambler.
Yeah, it's just a classic looking bike. It's again, I'm not mad that I haven't sold it yet. It's just I'm perfectly content with it in my garage, and I still have my Yamaha Tenere 700 and my Honda Trail 125. I mean, those bikes I have no intentions of letting go. Those are just solid motorcycles, easy to ride, easy to maintain. Good bikes.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I'm surprised you didn't end up with that Goldwing. I remember your write-up on that. It was about a year ago when you took that one out in California. You were absolutely glowing after riding that.
I would love to have a Goldwing. As a matter of fact, that is the only bike I would add to the stable. But that's a different investment level and time commitment too. Because if I did have that Goldwing, then I definitely need to go on more rides. I mean, I don't get to ride enough as it is, believe it or not. But with a Goldwing, then I can't just have it sitting in the garage looking pretty. Then I would have to get out and ride.
Yeah, I agree. That bike's made for some miles.
Yeah, because right now, I mean, I'm mostly commuting, a few tours here and there, but this has been the craziest spring we've had. It has been raining every single day, massive thunderstorms every night, and I've been putting off this project to fill my 9-year-old son on his OSET electric trials bike, and now I'm just delayed because it's just a swamp out there. I mean, everything's just straight up mud and we can't ride. So now I'm just waiting for even a couple of days of no rain so we can hopefully do a little filming and riding. But it's a little jungle out there now.
Yeah, it's been the same here. Sunshine is kind of one of those things you see on TV and go, what is that? It's been raining like crazy up here, and it's not real warm. Like today, it was actually, we went to a graduation event for some friends of ours. We're standing outside, and I said I should have wore a jacket. And to say that in June, it's like what? But yeah, it was chilly up here today.
We were there a little bit ago. I mean, we've had the nicest month of May that I can ever remember. No humidity, just perfect temperature. Of course, North Carolina, it comes eventually, and now we're in the high 80s, low 90s, and it's just pressing humidity. But it is what it is. I'm just itching for a couple of days of no rain so we can get out there and ride again.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, you, Marissa, and Caleb, you need to get up by Blackie and do a nice clover leaf out of there and do some of the do it the Civil War memorials. Start out with Gettysburg and head out and do a bunch of different. And I think that'd be a great write up.
Yeah. Also for video too. I mean, now we're putting so much effort into all of our videos too, and we've been to Gettysburg and we've covered the Civil War locations extensively, but it has been a few years. And again, 25 years goes by fast, so it could be that this was 20 years ago that we covered it. So I think I have to look at the editorial calendar again and see if we can sneak one in up there in your area.
Well, I'd love to host you guys, man. We got Gettysburg, Antietam, Manassas. You're right here in the heart of it. In fact, I've got some folks tomorrow that I'm taking to a part of Gettysburg battlefield that very few people see because it's on private land. And I'm actually friends with the owner of the land. So I drop off a pecan pie and I take my guests up through his field, and we get to go up to Neal Avenue, which is called Lost Avenue because most people never get there. In fact, there are a lot of battlefield guides that don't know or haven't been. And so Judy and Dean, really great people. I call them up a couple of days in advance. And Dean's wife always says, what kind of pie are you bringing this time? So you guys get back up this way. I'd love to be able to show you some of Gettysburg's lesser traveled, lesser known, parts of the battlefield. That'd be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. See, I need a Goldwing.
There you go.
I need a
So
Goldwing.
we were talking. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just thinking in my mind already because there are a couple of strange vehicles coming my way, but super off topic. Super off topic.
Nothing's off topic.
There's nothing off topic here.
The whole name of this and the whole premise of this is, what do guys talk about or gals talk about when they stop for a fuel stop on a motorcycle trip? And as well as anybody, it could run the gambit. You could talk about bourbon, cigars, music, playlists, roads, routes, barbecue joints, pie, banana pudding, who knows? And I just rattled off most of the things we spend our time talking about. But no, nothing's off limits, man.
I said yes to a slingshot.
Oh, all
All
right.
right.
Oh, hold
Well,
on.
that'll be in the
Hold
end
on
of
a
the
second.
program.
You started the
Oh,
show off
jeez.
with a comment that made me, I mean, it really endeared. I mean, we love talking to you anytime we get the chance. And when you come off with a line like, if you own a motorcycle and you don't have a subscription to Roadrunner, you're not a motorcyclist. You're just a motorcycle owner. And then we've warmed up, we've had a little icebreaker conversation, and you spring on, I'm going to get a slingshot.
Yeah,
I,
not
I
only
could I could see getting an
Like,
Earl, a Ural, however you
like,
want to say it, with the
well, side note,
sidecar. I've been entertaining that.
Tammy wants me to get one.
no, don't do that. But also, we're changing the
Slingshot.
editorial direction 100%. We're going full on slingshot. Everything will be slingshot oriented. No, I'm just kidding. No, this,
I was going to say,
when an email comes in and asks you, "Hey, do you want to test the slingshot for 2 weeks?" I mean, my
oh yeah, I would drive one for free.
exactly. So I'm like, yeah, I'll take a slingshot for 2 weeks, and then only then am I thinking like, well, how am I going to make this work for the magazine? But then we discussed it internally. It's close enough, and any motorcyclist that's also a gearhead will appreciate that it's something different. So I think I can spin it in the right way. Plus, I don't think I've met anybody that wasn't at least interested in a slingshot or who would ride one just to see what it's like. So
Well, I'll say this: a slingshot, it's got to be like a moped. It's fun to ride till your friends see on it. So just be careful who you let see you.
Now, no, you know the thing about the moped. Now back up a second because I'm gonna stick one in here. The Amalfi Coast,
Sure. Oh no,
the
that's
Amalfi
very
Coast on a
European.
moped. I could see me doing that.
Now, I will say this, like, in Western North Carolina, the slingshot presence in North
It's high.
Carolina, there are so many
Yeah.
places that rent those things. There's a
You know why
place,
they?
I
You know
forget
why
the
they
name of
rent
it.
them? You know why they rent them?
Yeah, I mean,
Because you don't have to be a motorcyclist to get one.
I know the place in Bryson, and we've rented, the 4-door Can-Ams to, go off into the well, we sort of got in trouble because we went where they said for us to go, which ended up being on the Cherokee reservation, and they did not appreciate what we were doing there. But that guy, he started with renting out the side by sides. I drove past his place on 28 3 weeks ago. He has like 10 of those things out there. They are a hot ticket item out in the
Well,
mountains.
every time we've been on the Tail of the Dragon, not every time, but quite
Yeah.
frequently, you'll see a rally of those. There'll be 30 of them damn things.
Yeah.
Here's the
Yeah.
thing I want to know, and this is what is going to be intriguing for me when I read about. I hope you write something about your experience in the magazine or online. I'm baffled by the fact that they strap their luggage on the back in a garbage bag to keep it waterproof.
yeah, see, okay, then you know more about the slingshot than I do. I'm pretty sure I saw some slingshot with like some GB bags, some hard cases on it, which I mean, style wise, that's just a hard no for me on a slingshot. But
It comes down to your budget. I see guys with motorcycles with shit wrapped up
Yeah,
in a
you know what
garbage
though?
bag.
I think about what we were talking about earlier, and you do the Route 66 trip or Route 50. Route 50 still gives you 2 lanes, and it's Americana, and
Yep.
so. And I think about that. And I think about those old hardtail bikes and some of the bikes. Like when I was a young guy, a 750 was a pretty good sized bike, and that's what you toured on. I remember when the CB 700 came out, everybody's like, "Oh, you got to have one, right?" Now you think of a 750 and you go, "Oh, that's a nice lightweight trail bike." It's like, so in my mind, when I picture a guy on a motorcycle, it's not unusual to see a guy with a bag strapped on, covered in a bag, whatever. But on a slingshot, you're going to pay that kind of money. And if you want to take a trip and spend overnight somewhere, you got to strap a suitcase on the back of that thing with a freaking trash bag over it. I mean, that to me is just like, what are you doing?
It could be a personality thing. Okay, so the person who buys a slingshot, it's like, oh, very impulsive. I want that. Buys a slingshot. I want to go take it for a spin. It's like, oh no, it starts to rain. What do I do? Didn't
Yeah,
prepare.
I mean,
Let's get a trash bag. No, I don't want to throw slingshot riders or drivers under the bus, but I am very excited. Nobody in my family knows that one is coming, and I have two boys, and I'm
no, they're
just.
gonna dig
I
it.
mean, that's the part two of the whole reason I said yes is that, hey, I got two little boys. I mean, absolutely am I going to say yes to a slingshot and take them out on some fun rips.
Yeah. Now that I could see me and the grandkids getting in one of those and just having a rip.
Yeah.
Now okay, all right, maybe.
Are they making? Do they make 4-seater
I have
slingshots?
no idea. I just hope there are two in there.
No, they had two.
There are
But
two.
you know,
Yeah.
take child one. He sits it down. Child two. They can take turns.
Yeah.
But
And then the number one question will be, can this thing drift? And we will find out.
oh, I'm sure you can make it drift.
You can make anything drift with enough water.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is true.
While
We'll see.
you're soaking in the rain.
Now, all right. So if we're talking slingshots, what's your position on the Can-Am?
Spiders.
The spiders.
Can-Am spiders. I have spent quite a bit of time on the Can-Ams. It's, I think they are infinitely safer than a regular trike because I've also spent a lot of time on a trike. And that just did not seem safe to me. The way it handled, the way it hit every pothole and jerked around. And so if somebody wants to make their riding career a little bit longer and does it on a Can-Am, A-okay with me, and it's a purpose-built machine and it's really, really good. That's fine. And some people that don't do the whole balance thing of two wheels and they want to get into it and just, feel some air flowing through their jacket and their gear, that's fine too. It's really depends on where you are. I have ridden a Can-Am in the North Carolina mountains and gave it all it got, and I thought that was super fun. And I've ridden them on super straight roads, and obviously super comfortable and convenient. It does take a little bit of upper body strength when it gets really tight. I do say that. So when especially older people say they ride it because it's easier, I would always have to say be careful because you need quite a bit of upper body strength to get it.
So no power steering.
Yeah, but other than that, I mean, to each their own. It's also Can-Am has been advertising in the magazine, so I'm also definitely not going to throw them under the bus now. Plus they brought back motorcycles now. They have some electric bikes. One of our journalists is testing them, both of them in California right now. I'm excited to hear what he has to say.
My wife's 5 foot tall, and she's actually got a friend that she just bought one and was talking about how much she's enjoying not being on the back of the bike, but actually riding the Can-Am. And my wife, her biggest thing has been, God, I'm 5 foot tall. Like there's no motorcycle I can comfortably, safely and feel confident in. And so Lori started telling her about her experience on the Can-Am. And now my wife actually said to me the other day, that actually is kind of cool.
It's a
And
snowmobile.
so my daughter, who's also 5 foot tall, said, "Mom, we should get them, and we could go on trips together." And I said, "Okay, now we're cooking with gas."
Yeah, I hope you have a big garage. Perfect. Yeah.
2 garages.
As long as you have the garage space, then A-okay. No, I mean, it's super fun, especially the little Riker too. You can rip around on it. And now they have the Canyon that they say is the off-road model of them all. So I'm really excited to hear one of our journalists, Jeremiah and Holly, they just picked up some Can-Ams in Utah. And guess where they are going on the Can-Am Canyons?
Moab?
Yes, that is correct.
Dude,
Nice.
that's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, I've ridden four wheelers a lot, ATVs. So I don't know Can-Am off road. What's I guess because it's licensable, maybe as an
Very
adventure
good
bike.
question. I mean, I
I don't
just
know.
want to hear how it actually performs and how you can rip up a trail that's super rutted out and off camber. And what's the traction? What's the
Yeah.
power? Is it fun? How's the suspension? I'm excited. And is it actually off-road capable, or does it just look off-road capable?
Yeah, like a lot of SUVs.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah. We just
the
have a
utility
80/20
in
tire
a
on the back.
sport vehicle, sport utility vehicle. No, no, that
It's funny you was talking about, trikes being dangerous. Uh, a few years ago, Chris and I went out for the Isle of Man TT. And I remember, Chris, I don't know if you do. I know I do. It scared the absolute bejesus out of me. We're going over the mountain
I do
course,
remember.
and there's it's all one
No
way.
speed
There's no
limit.
speed limit. It's just go. And we were on what, little Yamaha Versas?
No, they were the
Is that what those things were?
no, they were the 750s. What were they called? I don't even know if you can get them in.
I don't. Yeah, but I mean, we had just picked these bikes up. We got 10 miles under our belt with these things, so we're not going crazy. We're doing over 100
Yeah,
easily.
but
Staying way to the
that bike
left.
was screaming like that was
Yeah.
about all.
And there is a trike with a V8 350 in it.
Two of them.
Yeah. With two passengers sitting in a bench seat in the back and a driver passing
Like we
us
were standing
doing
still.
120, 130. And all the drivers there, they're all ex-riders from the Isle of Man. So they're all racers. But I was like, no
Yeah,
way.
people would pay this
No
pro
way.
TT rider to give them a ride in one of these trikes. And when you see it go by at 100 plus miles an hour,
It's so loud. It would scare the living
and you
crap
get on
out of me.
it, you're up in the mountains before they make the big 90 to go back into town down the hill. And they went around that curve where the year we were there, the guy went launched. They went
Yeah.
around that curve, went around me, and I was like, you couldn't pay me to get in the back of one of those things, let
No,
alone
absolutely
ride
not.
them.
No. And if this is a tourist attraction, they should consider just, taking one passenger at a time on a regular motorcycle. I think
Yeah.
that would be a little safer than taking two at a time on a trike.
It was unbelievable. Yeah, I do remember
It
that.
was insane.
There was I forget who makes those Haas,
I don't know,
Boss
but it
Haas
was,
setup with
yeah,
the
it's
big
like,
350 V8s
Yeah.
in them, and I don't even know. I don't. It looked like manifold straight pipe out, super loud.
no, these were custom made because they were oversized.
Yeah, they were big. They were as long
I mean,
as
they were
they
running,
were as long as a car.
they were running car tire 60s on the
Yeah.
back. It was, I was just like, what the, something out of
Yeah,
Mad Max.
That's what Mad Max. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, there is no electronic aid to keep that thing from tipping.
Oh,
No safety. Safety just
no.
you're on the Isle of Man. Safety.
Why
Yeah,
bother?
what's the
Yeah.
point? I do
Yeah.
remember that. That was crazy. Do you listen to music a lot when you ride?
I can't do it. No. I need. Some people I'll use a Bluetooth communicator with, but otherwise it's gonna be complete silence. It's my time to think.
I've gone to silence myself. I find myself, I can't find anything that I'm all right. So let me step back. I made that custom helmet with the Beats headset inside there where I melted out and reformed everything and got it perfect. And those were great. I cannot find anything of quality to have in a helmet, but even near the tail end of me having that helmet, that last showy before I got rid of it, I like listening to nothing. I just get lost in my head. I find I can really, really concentrate on the road, and it helps me blind everything out as far as, to me, the wind therapy, which I've talked about before, where I can shut everything else down and just become there. Uh, it to me, it's very therapeutic that way.
Yeah, I'm the same way. And if it's, I'm very influenced by music, and if it's, it's a fast beat, and then I keep writing faster and faster and faster, and yeah, it does take my mind. I mean, I think all the speeding tickets I've gotten on a motorcycle were times when I did listen to music. Um, but it's the time when I come up with my best ideas, and it's just, I mean, that's my meditation right there when I write. I can't do music.
I will admit though, there's times up in like the California mountains when we were doing coming up out of Arizona, going through past all those copper mines.
Oh, like a brown
I was
glow.
listening.
North.
Yeah, I was listening to Cuban and salsa music, and it was the combination of the two was great. And I think we ended up stopping for Mexican food, which was perfect. But that type of music was great for me. It felt really good going through those curves.
Yeah,
You
I
could
mean,
have a
I love
soundtrack.
listening to music. If I'm in a city where it's really crowded and congested, I don't. I want to I
Oh
want to
yeah.
be like super aware, with the 360 vision and my ears and everything tuned into to all the crazy. But if I'm riding through Montana, Wyoming, central part of Utah, uh, Pacific Coast Highway is another place I like to listen to music. Um, there is a certain genre and not genre. It's not even fair to say genre because I have a pretty eclectic. It has to have a certain rhythm and beat to it, though. I don't want to hear any down. I don't want to hear any slow. I don't want to hear any nothing deep. I don't want to hear. Boston more than a feeling. That's how I start to ride. Most mornings, and then it goes from there. But I was just curious if Florian had a playlist or didn't listen to
It's a
music at
really
all.
interesting conversation because we just started this too, riding back or driving and shuttling the BMW back and forth from Fontana. Marissa is a big music person, and I was alone in my truck coming to Fontana, so I asked her to send me all of her fun Spotify playlists, and a whole lot of music I had never heard in my life. I never thought that I would like country, or as she calls it, mountain music, but all super interesting and fun to listen to. But driving by myself in my truck for 4 hours listening to music, I arrived exhausted. I was just spent. Couldn't do it anymore. And a couple of weeks ago, my wife and our two boys, we drove in one day from Destin back to North Carolina. That was 10 and a half hours of pure driving time, our biggest drive we've ever done. And we listened to zero music the entire time. We had maybe a stretch of an hour or hour and a half somewhere where we were listening to some kids' podcast about Greek mythology. Super interesting, kept us entertained. But zero music, and we arrived after that long drive completely fresh, not tired whatsoever. And I found it very interesting. And the only thing that I could think of was we didn't listen to music. It was just either we talked or it was just quiet. Very interesting.
That's crazy.
That's
Huh.
interesting.
I might have to do. We're doing
Yeah.
the waterfall tour of West Virginia this weekend, and I might have a day where I just tune no music just to see how I feel at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's very.
Kiss of death, man. You're gonna do it, and you're gonna be like, that was really nice because your mind is gonna be
I
so clear. I do like driving with a book on tape. If I get a good book,
I do.
it. I just drove back from Bryson to Tampa, and I had, I had the bike on the trailer. I had the two dogs in the car or in the truck, and it's just go straight through. And having a book on tape, a good book on tape, I get lost in the story, and next thing it's like 10 hours. I'm like, oh, well, shit, I want to finish my
Yeah.
book. That's the problem. And then I got to spend 3 hours in my office smoking cigars, listening to the rest
So
of the
Tammy
book.
and I'll get a good Clancy novel or something, murder mystery kind of thing. And when we drive out to see my dad, we like to listen to audiobooks, and because the conversation that goes on about the book as the character development happens, you definitely can buzz 800 miles and wow, we're here, you know. But on the bike, I guess it's just the connection to music that I have that, like, and it might be the age. Like, I can remember certain events to music that I can't remember to other things that way. Music and food smells. You know, I can walk into a restaurant and I'll smell something like, oh, I remember this time we were in Spain. We went to this restaurant, you know, and I remember that event like it was just as vivid as if it happened yesterday. Music does that for me. And so as I'm riding, you know, I'm taking in what's new, but I'm also feeling what has happened, you know, in the past. And the combination of the kind of look back feeling and the aesthetic, you know, value that gives me with this new thing I'm seeing. I don't know if that's it or what, but I just really tie a lot of events to music, and it helps me remember now the ride's over and we have looked at all these waterfalls in West Virginia and we stopped at the Hillbilly Hot Dogs place and we, you know, we're going to do these things. I'll hear a song and a flash of memories will go by. Like, I remember that dog running across the road in Death Valley, and I remember exactly to the minute where in More Than a Feeling the song where the dog ran in front of me.
That was a coyote.
Yeah, it was like, you know, 130 miles an hour, one cheek off the seat, leaning around this corner, and out of this dust plume comes this coyote. And I'm going, you son of a bitch, you better not run out in front of me because I'll be dead.
There was eight of us driving. There was 8 of us in a trail, and we're all doing 100 plus.
I'll be a greasy spot if that dog keeps going, man. But I can remember that song, and every time that song comes on and it gets to that spot, I go, that freaking crazy coyote, you know. And I remember that, you know. And so in the course of a 3.5 minute song, I'll have remembered and recollected rides from when I was 16, 17, first cross country trip when I was, you know, 19, you know, those kinds of things pop into my mind. And I you know, maybe that's why music for me, I don't know. But I know a lot of guys that, you know, like Florian, they say, no, I just want to hear the wind. And some guys are digging the e-bikes because on an e-bike, there isn't any sound other than the crickets and the cicadas and the, you know, so, you know, I could see tooling through a national forest and maybe being told.
Yeah, an e-bike in the trails, hearing the twigs snap underneath your tires, it's eerie.
Yeah.
But it's very grounding.
Yeah.
Yeah, couple that with barefoot, then I mean you're definitely grounding then. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, one more story since you said logs in Arizona.
Okay.
One story before I gotta go. We were in Seligman. Was it Kingman? Seligman? Somewhere in Arizona on Route 66. And 3 Harleys parked outside. We come back from our little dinner walk. And then there is a very eclectic group of gentlemen outside sharing, lying to each other, sharing stories, and drinking some beers. All from different countries. I mean, you could see that, you could hear that, and you just felt like this is the first evening that these gentlemen have met each other. And then the boss of them came over and enlightens us that the next day was the opening of prairie dog hunting, and apparently that's a thing out there because
it's a big thing.
You know, prairie dogs, they make a lot of holes, and cattle and horses step in those holes and break their legs, and that's never a good thing. And prairie dogs carry the plague too, so even more of a reason to shoot them. But the way this gentleman described the act of shooting prairie dogs, I will never forget that. It was like he was like a little boy he was so excited for what's to come tomorrow, and he really wanted us to come, but it was not in our timeline. We had to motor on down the road, but it's one thing that especially Caleb wanted to do upon his return to Arizona during prairie dog hunting season, is to go and shoot those poor little critters from I don't know how many hundreds of meters away, and then just But
So
Hey, you're bringing me back to my
I don't know.
youth, because we used to, my wife will hate hearing this, but I used to love prairie dog hunting with the 30-06. They just pop their little heads up and
I got a buddy of mine, James. You met him. He might be listening. So Doug, if you're listening, he shot me a
yeah,
video of those guys that it's a nice little clique of guys that he goes with every year. They go out to the Dakotas. And these ranchers are like, yeah, evacuate the prairie dogs for me. And so it's sport. Like, how far away can I shoot a prairie dog? And then how far will my camera allow me to zoom in while I'm shooting a prairie dog? And what kind of music goes well with exploding prairie dogs?
yes,
And so these guys have made this video, and Doug sent it to me, and I was like, okay, when can I go and how much does it cost? And he's like, this is how many rounds we bring. These are the rifles we bring, and so I'm sitting there,
yeah,
I'm
that was
listening to Florian's story, and I could see Doug telling me that same story like a little kid, at Christmas, like, dude, so excited.
yeah,
But,
and this is a good story.
yeah. I mean, I lived in Rapid
yeah,
City, South
that's
Dakota.
exactly
Me and my
right.
buddy Jerry, me and Jerry would go out and just clear a field, man.
It's
Just lay
groundhogs
down and
here.
clear a field.
For us here in
Oh,
Pennsylvania, it's groundhogs, and right after New Year's is a good time. Most of the farmers out here, they're like, dude, get rid of the groundhog holes. They'll
yeah,
bust a front axle off a tractor, like you said, cow, break a leg, and now I've lost that animal. And but yeah, to hear Florian tell that, I was just picturing Doug Drobish, man. I'm like, I bet you, Doug, if you're listening, you got to say something to me on Facebook about that.
And it's so we have an idea list of future stories. So riding motorcycles back out to Arizona, maybe North Dakota, and going prairie dog hunting is on the list. And so is I think in Texas you can book tours where you go wild boar hunting out of a helicopter. So that is also on.
that's Texas
Texas
all
all
day.
day. My brother just got back 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago. Did that very thing.
Yeah, it's just fun things you do while you're on a motorcycle ride.
See, and that's why Fuel Stop Chats is just called Fuel Stop Chats. Like, what do we talk about when we
Exactly.
stop a motorcycle trip? Like, dude, did you book
Anything.
that trip? We got to ride down to Texas, and we got to get on a helicopter and shoot something.
Yeah, and I'm going to leave it at that. But for everybody listening, 25 years of Roadrunner, and you can win a BMW R1300 GS Adventure.
Florian, as always, so good to have you here. Looking forward to seeing you in October, and can't wait to see what the magazine brings out. I'll even read the slingshot
Perfect.
thing. I'm not saying that I'll
No, I'm gonna
get
read it.
one or
I'm
even
gonna
rent
read it.
one, but
I
I'll
want to
read
read
it.
that.
Oh,
And
yeah,
the off-road Can-Am. Now I'm really intrigued.
yeah.
I got to read that too.
I want to see that.
If
All
you're
right,
not
guys, thanks for having me.
subscribing, you should.
Thanks again for everybody for listening in. Subscribe, check us out on YouTube. You got this video on YouTube, so you can actually see the three guys talking. Maybe a little bit extra, some photos or whatnot. But as always, thanks for listening. Ryder out.
Ryder out.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thanks, Floyd.